Hello, folks. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. So, did you keep reading? Did you keep reading Ezra 1, first Ezra, and find out what happened, what the king decreed to the people who got in the way of the great work? Keep reading. That's what I suggest. Always keep reading. So, we went through Deuteronomy 28. Undeniable, no point in arguing. We don't need to prove nothing because the book tells you everything you need to know. Same book, same book. But after reading Deuteronomy 28, it's our favorite, it's our go to. We're obsessed with Deuteronomy 28. You know this by now. But you keep reading. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 for greater understanding. So, Deuteronomy 29. These are the words of the covenant which the Father commanded Moses to make with the Israelites in the land of Moab, besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Moses called to all Israel and said to them, "You have seen all that the Father did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh, to all his servants, and to all his land. The great trials which your eyes saw, the signs and the great wonders." You see, that's when it's not going to be a question about belief. When people see what the Most High is going to do to the pharaohs of this earth, the signs and the wonders. It's not going to be a question about belief anymore. It's going to be fact. But I have a sermon ready, almost ready for that as well. And I'm going to entitle it, "They're Ready for You." The signs and the great wonders, they're ready for you. I've already touched on that before in the conspiracy theories video, as in the days of Noah, but we'll get to that. The great trials which our eyes saw, and the signs and those great wonders. Question is will it be too late? Once you've seen, will it be too late? Will everybody be numbered? Those who are to be saved, to be saved. Those who are to survive, where you going to be, where you want to go. Yet the Father has not given you a mind and heart to understand, and eyes to see, and ears to hear, to this day. I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes have not worn out upon you, and your sandals have not worn off your feet. You have not eaten grain, bread, nor have you drunk wine or strong drink, that you might recognize and know your dependence on him who is saying, "I am Yah." When you came to this place, Sihon king and Heshbon and Og king of Bashan came out against us to battle, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Therefore keep your words of this covenant and do them, that you may deal wisely and prosper in all that you do. All of you stand today before the Father, your God, your heads, your tribes, your elders, your officers, even all the men of Yasharel, your little ones, your wives, and the stranger and the sojourner in your camp, from the hewer of your wood to the drawer of your water, that you may enter into the covenant of the Father and into his oath which he makes with you today, that he may establish you this day as a people for himself, and that he may be to you a God, as he said to you, and as he swore to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is not with you only that I make this sworn covenant, but with future Israelites who do not stand here with us today before the Father, as well as with those who are here with us this day. You know how we lived in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the midst of the nations you crossed. And you have seen their abominations and their idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold, which were among them. Beware lest there should be among you a man or woman or family or tribe whose mind and heart turns away this day from the Father your God, and to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a poisoned root that bears gall and wormwood, and lest when he hears the words of this curse and oath, he flatters and congratulates himself in his mind and heart, saying, I shall have peace and safety, though I walk in the stubbornness of my mind and heart, bringing down a hurricane of destruction and sweeping away the watered land with the dry. That pertains to another sermon I have coming up. Hallelujah. The Father will not pardon him, but then the anger of the Father and his jealousy will smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall settle on him. And the Father will blot out his name from under the heavens, and the Father will single him out for ruin and destruction from all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law. So that the next generation, your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who shall come from a distant land, shall say, when they see the plagues of this land and the disease with which the Lord has made it sick, the whole land is brimstone and salt and a burnt waste, not sown or bearing anything, where no grass can take root, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in his anger and wrath. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds familiar. And it happened. It happened. It happened. We were told, and it happened. What are we being told now? It's going to happen. Even all the nations shall say, this is why I say they know, they know, they know. And the game has always about making sure you don't know, family. Making sure you don't know. And making sure the world doesn't know or understand the truth. So that you will always doubt this book and you can't see how the word of God has come true. Even all the nations shall say, why has the Father done this to this land? What does the heat of this great anger mean? The men shall say, because they forsook the covenant of the Father, the God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of Egypt. For they went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods they knew not, that he had not given to them. So the anger of the Father was kindled against this land, bringing upon it all curses that are written in this book. And the Father rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. It's not just something that you rubber stamp and say that happened, fulfilled, fulfilled, fulfilled. It's an everlasting covenant. And as you read this book, you learn and you see, we strayed, it happened. We strayed, it happened. We strayed, it happened. And the Father rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. The secret things belong unto the Father, our Elohim, but the things which are revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. And when all these things have come upon you, the blessings and the curses which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations where the Father your Elohim has driven you. See, I just tell you, this speaks to our blood, it speaks to our bones. And you shall return to the Father your Elohim and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, and your children with all your mind and all your heart and with all your being. This is why it's important to do it now, because like I've always said, it takes a long time to filter out all the conditioning, all the poisoning. We're doing it now, we're agreeing to it now. When things start to unfold, when shit gets real, as they say, you think you can change just like that and stop all your bad habits. It's a long fight and it's a long battle. And even sometimes I just need to sometimes say, do you know what? It's only been 5 years, I'm still a babe. I can't expect to be perfect. I still battle, I still struggle. The fight. I'm on the road, I'm walking it, but the mountain is still way in the distance. I'm not looking up at the mountain as some people are, as they've been in this book for decades. I'm still walking. I've come a long way, but I still got a long way to go. And I just urge people, get started. Do not think that you can start seeing all these things start to unfold, see a miracle, and then think, okay, yeah, I'm going to start doing this now. Don't gamble. Don't gamble. Get started. Because it's a long journey. It's tough. It's hard. It's brutal. Here we go. Remember, I always ask the question. You will get the chance to prove you're not our enemies. And how I always say I'm not falling for the dream and the fairy tale anymore. Together, blah, 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 blah. Because we've been fooled and tricked again and again and again. And we'd be fools to trust you. We could trust individuals, but as a nation, as an empire, as a kingdom, no. No, no, no. No matter how hard they try to promise of a better future, us Israelites, we're not falling for it. So, are you sure you're not our enemies? It's a choice, and you'll get a chance to prove it. And when all these things have come upon you, the blessings, the curses which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations where your Father has scattered you, and shall return to your Father and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, and you and your children, and with all your mind and all your heart and all your being, then the Father your God will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you, and will gather you again from all the nations where he has scattered you. Even if any of your dispersed are in the uttermost parts of the heavens, from there the Father will gather you, and from there will he bring you. Now you see why the immigration, you know. Now you can see who the smuggling gangs really are, yeah? And why. Anytime they give you these 3-word phrases, stay at home, stop the boats, smash the gangs, you know it's them. And it's a classic brainwashing technique. It's textbook. Even if you're dispersed or in the uttermost parts of the heavens, from there the Lord will gather you, and from there he will bring you. And the Father, your God, will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, you shall possess it, and he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers. That's our kingdom promised. And I said before, nobody wants that. Nobody wants us to have our kingdom multiplied above our fathers. Just simple promises like that. People don't like it. They don't want it. Why can't we have our own? Like I said, this Bible, it reads you. It reads you. You don't read the Bible. It reads you. For all the nations, if you get angry with that, you don't like it, you want to interfere, you want to make sure it doesn't happen. Like I said, read First Esdras. Look. Multiply you above your fathers. And the Father, your God, will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants to love Father Yah with all your mind and your heart and with all your being, that you may live. Deuteronomy 30:7. And Father Yah, your Elohim, will put all these curses upon your enemies and on those who hate you, who persecute you. You're not going to make us feel bad and not want to do this and want to do things your way with the promise of a better world together so that this doesn't happen. You're not going to put the guilt on us that if we come back to our Father and come back to this law, statutes and commandments, that it means that it's the end of your kingdom. Because what it really means is that the Most High is being fair. It's your turn for correction. It's your turn. For punishment. For chastisement. That's fair. It's long overdue. And it's your choice where you want to go. Where you want to go. What are you going to choose? And the Father will put all these curses upon your enemies and on those who hate you, who persecute you. Now, I've written notes, Isaiah 51:23. We went through this, didn't we? Isaiah 51. Isaiah 51:23. Why have I written that there? Isaiah 51:23, and I will put it into the hands of your tormentors and oppressors, those who said to you, bow down, that we may ride or tread over you. And you have made your back like a ground, and like the street for them to pass over. That's at the end of the promises of Isaiah 51. Telling us to come back. Arise yourself and wake up, stand up, Jerusalem, you who have drunk at the hand of the Lord, the cup of his wrath. You have drunk the cup of staggering and intoxication to the dregs. There is more. There is none to guide her among all the sons she has borne, neither is there anyone to take her by the hand among all the sons whom she has brought up. Two kinds of calamities have befallen you, but who feels sorry for and commiserates you? They are desolation and destruction on the land and city, and famine and sword on the inhabitants. How shall I comfort you? Or by whom? Your sons are fated, they lie like corpses, and at the head of all the streets like an antelope in a net. They are full from drinking of the wrath of the Father, the rebuke of your God. Therefore now hear this, you who are afflicted and who are drunk, but not with wine, but thrown down by the wrath of Yah. Thus says the Father Yah, your Elohim and your God, who pleads the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken from your hand the cup of staggering and intoxication, and the cup of my wrath you shall drink no more, and I will put it into the hands of your tormentors and oppressors, those who said to you, bow down, that we may ride or tread over you. And you have made your back like a ground, and like the street for them to pass over. So it's pretty obvious who's being spoken about and who's being spoken. It's just pretty obvious. Will you choose to fight? That's it. That's it. And the overall message, this book speaks to you guys as well. It speaks to you guys. What's the overall message? The overall message is says, don't fight. Don't fight. That's you guys making your choice. Choose wisely. That's why we read this book to you, we show you, so you can make an informed decision. And you shall return and obey the voice of the Father, and do all his commandments which I command you today. And the Father, your Elohim, will make you abundantly prosperous in every work of your hand, and in the fruit of your body, and of your cattle, and of your land, for good. For the Father will again delight in prospering you, as he took delight in your fathers, if you obey the voice of the Father, your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if you turn to the Father with all your heart and mind, and with all your being. For this commandment which I command you this day is not too difficult for you, nor is it far off. It is not a secret laid up in heaven, that you should say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. It's written. Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear and do it. But the word is very near, in your mouth and in your mind and in your heart, so that you can do it. It's been this dusty old book lying around in your house all this time, which you've been ignoring. Yeah. See, I have set before you this day life, good, death, and evil. If you obey the commandments of the Father, your Elohim, which I command you today, to love the Father, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his ordinances, then you shall live and multiply, And the Father will bless you in the land into which you go to possess. It happened. He said it. It happened. The word of God is true. That's why I don't need to see a miracle. But if your mind and heart turn away, and you will not hear, but are drawn away to worship other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall surely perish, and you shall not live long in the land which you pass over the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, the blessings and the curses. Therefore choose life, that you and your descendants may live. It was a command then, and it meant so much then, and it means the exact same thing now. I call heaven and earth to witness this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, the blessings and the curses. Therefore choose life, that you and your descendants may live. And you may love the Lord your Elohim, obey his voice and cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, that you may dwell in the land which the Father swore to give to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. "26 minutes. Let's keep it short. Shalom, family.